welcome to the new episode of Action Video Game Talk. I'm your host, Scott Action Jackson here, and let's get started into the news articles. Despite the fact that historically, the Metal Gear franchise has been more popular in the West than in its home country, Japan is getting a Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes PlayStation 4 bundle dubbed the Fox Edition. Naturally, the bundle contains the console and the game, but the bundle itself also features a cool etching of the Fox logo. The bundle, available March 20th for 46,980 yen, can be seen on the Sony store and features a Foxhound decal on the system along with a copy of the upcoming game. Konami also confirmed that the upcoming prologue will run at 1080p on PlayStation 4 and 720p on Xbox One. Now, no doubt, Metal Gear Solid fans are going to be going gaga over this, especially those that already got the Metal Gear Solid systems, like the PS3 Metal Gear Solid system, the PSP Metal Gear Solid system. Now, the question is if this will be coming to the US. If that's the case, it would be a good get for those fans. I mean, it would be nice to see this, in person. But, again, it's not up to me, it's up to Konami, and if they decide they want to bring it over to the US. The director of Final Fantasy VII has admitted that while he would love to create an HD remake of the game, there are a number of obstacles standing in the way. Speaking to Eurogamer in his captivity as producer of Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy VII 13, Yoshinori Katsatsu, if I'm getting the name right, if I'm not, sorry, admitted that he would love to do a remake, but it would be an enormous undertaking. I can honestly tell you I would love to do that, he said. If you would simply ask me if I personally would like to do that, yes, I would. Definitely. There's no lie about it. But you must believe me when I say it would take a lot to happen. Two of the biggest issues are apparently staff availability and budget, which, given the epic scale of the game, makes sense. The development time required to recreate the world at the standard fans want would likely rival even Final Fantasy XV at this point. But he also explained there's another reason he hasn't pursued the remake of the game. He's not exactly motivated enough to do it, as it would be such a huge commitment. Even if I casually say I would like to do that, because it would be a huge project, I would have to motivate myself to the level that I really am prepared to take on this huge responsibility, he said. I don't know if those three things will happen simultaneously. It has to tick lots of very big boxes. I won't rule out the possibility, but it would take a lot to make it happen. But should I ever take it on, it would have to be the biggest project I've done. My life work. So I would have to be as highly motivated as that to end up with something I'm very happy with. It's a huge thing for me. Demand for the HD remake for Final Fantasy VII has been high ever since a tech demo was released for PS3. Since then, former company CEO said the game wouldn't be remade until a fresh entry in the franchise surpasses it in quality. Oh boy, where do I start? I have so many issues with this, I don't even know if I'll be able to say them all right here. Yeah, I probably will. The whole quote of them saying that the game would not be remade until a fresh entry in the franchise surpasses it in quality. The way I heard it is that they won't remake it until an entry surpasses it in financial quality. And the only game that they ever done that would probably be close to that would maybe be Final Fantasy X. And them saying that, it would require a lot of time, resources. They've had, since Final Fantasy 13 started, maybe Final Fantasy 12, 14, they've had all that time that they've hinted with little Final Fantasy 7 gifts, costumes, whatever, that they could have been working on a Final Fantasy 7 remake. The director of the original Final Fantasy 7 is correct that it would be a huge, huge project. And yeah, of course, it's obvious that lots of fans are begging them for it, are demanding it. But you know what? Square Enix, they don't care. Apparently Square Enix doesn't want to make money. Now, to me, if I was, for argument's sake, if I was able to think of something to put together for it, I would have to kind of call it like a Final Fantasy VII HD remastered collection. It would have the remake of Final Fantasy VII. It would include the Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII PSP game in HD for whatever PS3, PS4. It would also include the Advent Children Director's Cut movie, have a full soundtrack, not like the BS Blu-ray soundtrack that Square Enix has got going on for the 10/10/2 Collector's Edition, real physical CDs. And then any other bonus materials that they would have lying around in the archives. Since they're doing so many sequels, why don't they work on a Final Fantasy VII 2? I just wonder how long until Square Enix comes out and says that we screwed up. We should have done this a long time ago. Because the real question is, why is Square so afraid to make Final Fantasy VII when the fans are demanding it for so long? This week's PlayStation Plus offerings have been revealed, with 2 games hitting the service's instant game collection when the store updates. On PlayStation 3, Remember Me from Capcom and Don't Nod take you to a futuristic Paris where memories are mutable. Street Fighter X Tekken for Vita, which can be cross-played with the PlayStation 3 version, brings together 2 storied fighting game franchises. I've downloaded the Remember Me game. I have not tried it yet. From what I've seen, it has a bit of a nod to Mirror's Edge. I think that's what it's called. And then the Street Fighter X Tekken game, I would like to try this for PlayStation 3. Too bad that wasn't offered instead of the Vita version. Octodad, Dadliest Catch will not be available on PS4 until April, and an Xbox One version is now being considered. The news comes courtesy of developer Young Horses via the game's official Twitter. April is the PS4 goal. There has never been a definitive date or delay. Also, considering Xbox One means we thought about it in our brains. Sadly, the developer also confirmed that there are currently no plans to bring the title to the Wii U. Now, I tried the demo for the Octodad game, and it was a fun little title to play around with the trigger buttons and the DualShock sticks. And the fact that it's being delayed is a bit of a downer. Like I said, this is a fun little game. I hope that they don't delay it anymore. Them announcing that they're thinking about releasing it on Xbox One is a nice thing for Xbox One owners to give this a try. And I think this could actually work on the Wii U also. But yeah, I just hope they don't push it back anymore. I mean, this isn't like South Park or some of the other games like Watch Dog, where it should be pushed back when it shouldn't. I mean, the demo I tried seemed like it was ready. The first-person horror title, Daylight, from Zombie Studios will be released in just a couple months. In a video on IGN, the studio director confirmed an April release date for the game on both PS4 and PC. Daylight is an experience where the paths, puzzles, and scares are different each time that you play. Now, don't get this game confused with Dying Light. This involves getting scares, but Dying Light is actually involving zombies. This Daylight game is a zombie studio game. From the way they're trying to describe it, actually there's not really much of a description. But it's like a puzzle type, scary type horror game. It says the paths, puzzles, and scares are different each time you play, so I guess it's like random generations on buildings and stuff, so that'll be fun. In a quick interview at DICE, Bethesda game director Todd Howard told Rock Paper Shotgun regarding a Fallout announcement that we don't have a time frame for our next game announcement, but I think it's going to be a while. We've gotten fairly used to all the questions and curiosity over the years, Howard continued. Everyone wants information. Right now, we're just trying to figure out which of our ideas are going to stick and finding an appropriate time to talk about it. Well, of course there's going to be questions and people asking. I mean, they got lots and lots, hundreds, maybe thousands, maybe even millions of Fallout fans. But it's nice to know, that they're trying to figure out a specific storyline to go with it. I mean, we don't want it rushed out like Fallout New Vegas. Remember how that turned out with all those glitches and stuff? This shouldn't be an issue of just waiting. At least they're acknowledging it. In late January, it was discovered that a Kickstarter campaign for a realistic open-world RPG, Kingdom Come Deliverance, features no magic system. Mythological races are absent. You will not be slaying dragons. You will, however, have the opportunity to play this ambitious game on next-generation consoles. Developer Warhorse Studios announced it has received approval from both Sony and Microsoft to pursue development on both new platforms. For those that back the game at a tier that awards a digital copy, this means you'll be able to pick a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One copy. The same thing applies to those that funded at a physical copy tier. Alpha access will be restricted to Windows, and beta access will be available on Mac and Linux. Beta tests might also be available on console, but that is not yet a guarantee. Warhorse also announced that should the campaign hit the £1 million mark, a canine companion will be added to the game. The campaign will not fund the entire game. Rather, the Kickstarter effort was designed as proof of concept for a willing investor. So when I saw the gameplay footage on YouTube for this Kingdom Come Deliverance game, it looked like a next-generation version of Skyrim Oblivion, still in the early developments. So yeah, it did look awesome. Although they did have like little pieces in it where they can tweak it. I think that in the broadcast that they showed, they said they could actually try and get some better voice acting. Until Bethesda announces like Elder Scrolls 6 for next generation, this is probably the next closest thing that we'll get for PS4 and Xbox One until that time comes. Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor is being developed with a focus on PS4 and Xbox One, meaning some aspects of the Nemesis system are unlikely to make it to the current-gen versions of the game. Speaking to IGN, the design director explained that though every effort was being made to get the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions of the upcoming game as close to the others, Shadow of Mordor is essentially a next-gen game. We're very focused on the PS4 and Xbox One, he said. We're focusing on the next-gen platforms, and then going to do whatever we can to get as much as possible on current gen. To break it down, some of the stuff we're pretty confident will still be very similar on the next gen. The core mechanics like combat, stealth, ranged, and movements, the basic control, and gameplay, that should all be really solid. What it won't have is the same level of depth and variety and simulation within the Nemesis system. The story will be the same and the core gameplay will be the same, but the Nemesis system is just so huge in terms of content, calculations, and AI, we'll just have to try and get as much of it in as we can. Sometimes this happens with games that are released on next-gen and current-gen systems. Sometimes they can't transfer everything over from the next-gen to the current-gen. I mean, it's good that they'll be able to keep so much of it over, but this Nemesis system is an awesome idea for this game. Even though it is more or less going to be kind of like an Assassin's Creed type game in Middle-earth. I mean, it is a shame that not everything's going to be able to come over to the current-gen systems, but it happens. Gearbox president Randy Pitchford told Polygon that Borderlands 3 isn't in development at this time. Pitchford said that the studio has more to do with the franchise, but no, there isn't a Borderlands 3 in development. We know the franchise is still expanding, with Borderlands 2 due out on Vita this spring, and Tales of the Borderlands in development at Telltale Games, not to mention the final DLC for Borderlands 2. But he did discuss the scope the next numbered installment in the series. When you think what Borderlands should be, it should be massive, he said. It should be bigger and better than Borderlands 2. It should carry forward the story. We don't know what Borderlands 3 is yet. We can imagine what it must achieve, but we don't know what it is yet. So indeed, Gearbox does have more to do with the franchise currently, with, as Gearbox president mentioned, Borderlands 2 coming out in Vita in the spring, Tales of the Borderlands with Telltale Games, the final DLC for Borderlands 2, and I'm guessing if not in between those, at least after, they'll probably start figuring out for Borderlands 3, which, as he said, it's going to be massive, it's going to be huge. Minecraft already boasts an impressive number of features and activities for players. In the coming months, developer Mojang is adding another feature to that list: minigames. With a click of a button, players can switch their Minecraft realm to a minigame without having to reset their world. Moving back and forth between the two modes can be done at leisure. A number of games are planned for inclusion when the update lands in March, with more to be added over time. The feature is currently for Minecraft realms. Mojang's Minecraft service currently only available in Sweden or with a Minecon voucher. According to the developer video on the feature, Mojang is planning on bringing Minecraft realms to the rest of the world as soon as possible. Adding content to Minecraft is actually fun. They do add some good stuff to it. Now, I'm looking at a few names of the minigames right now. One's called Blocks vs. Zombies. I don't want to know. Another one's called Cake Defense. So, I don't know if it has to do with throwing cake at other players. Third one is called Dash of Doom. I don't know if you're trying to run into something or run away from something. With these names for these mini games, it sounds more like something from Rooster Teeth's Let's Plays. And speaking of Let's Plays, this month's Game Informer issue has an article about Let's Plays. Yeah, I know. Plug. Shameless plug. So in this past week's new releases, or at least major new releases, first for the original DS, we have LEGO Marvel Superheroes Universe in Pearl. Got NASCAR 14 for PC, PS3, and 360. Rambo, the video game for PC. Yeah, that's gonna sell. Earth Defense Force 2025 for PS3 and 360. Strider, the download old school type game for PlayStation 3, PS4, 360, Xbox One, so on the PlayStation Network and Marketplace. Rayman Legends for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Wii U. So that does it for this edition of the show. In case you haven't noticed from the previous episode, between then and now, I've been posting up little clips of some of these articles, and hopefully that'll get us some more viewers. You can find us on Facebook. I'll have the link down below in the descriptions. Until next time, bye.